Goodbye sleepless nights because of unbearable itching. You're there, lying in your bed, tossing and turning from side to side because the irritation simply won't stop, that burning sensation that seems to drive you crazy. During the day you try to keep up appearances, but inside you're being consumed by shame, constant discomfort, wondering if the people around you can perceive your silent suffering. You avoid wearing certain clothes because you know they'll irritate even more. You feel uncomfortable in intimate moments. You're afraid to leave home on the worst days, and the worst of all is living in this constant anxiety, without knowing when the next crisis will explode in your life. You've been through this before, tried absolutely everything within your reach, spent a fortune on expensive creams that promised miracles, swallowed pills that only upset your stomach and worsened the symptoms, followed impossible restrictive diets that brought no lasting results. And every time you thought you had finally managed to control the situation, there came the Candidiasis back stronger, more resistant, more persistent than before. It's as if your own body were waging an internal war against you, and you simply can't win this battle that has been dragging on for months, maybe even years of your life. What you haven't discovered yet is that there's a list of foods that are true poisons for those who suffer from recurrent candidiasis, and most likely you're consuming at least 3 of them daily without having the slightest idea of the damage they're causing in your organism. International research shows that 91% of women with persistent candidiasis consume these foods regularly, keeping the fungus always active and strengthened. But there's a dietary protocol that 96% of women have never discovered, and that could be the key to your definitive liberation. Today I'm going to reveal the 7 most dangerous foods that directly feed the candidiasis fungus, with the last item on the list being so surprising that it might be sabotaging your entire treatment without you realizing it. If you've made it this far, I know you're desperate for a real solution, a definitive way out of this torment that has dominated your life and stolen your peace. You're not alone in this desperate struggle. Here on the channel, we've already helped thousands of women who went through exactly the same hell you're living now, and they managed to completely recover their quality of life using natural methods that truly work, without devastating side effects. When you subscribe to the channel, you start receiving every week natural and accessible tips that really work in practice, solutions tested and approved by real women who suffered like you, methods to get immediate relief from symptoms without depending exclusively on medications that destroy your organism, guidance to drastically improve your quality of life and self-esteem, plus being part of an incredible community that understands and supports you unconditionally in this healing journey. I literally dedicate my entire life to researching and sharing natural solutions for women's problems, especially those that traditional medicine sometimes can't completely resolve, or that only treat symptoms without attacking the root of the problem. Trust me when I say that the information you're going to discover here can change your life the same way it changed the lives of thousands of other women who today live completely free from recurrent candidiasis. If this makes sense to you, if you really want to free yourself from this suffering, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any tip that could be the missing piece in your healing puzzle. My commitment is to help you recover your quality of life and well-being, using the transformative power of nature and conscious eating. Now let's get to what really matters, this revolutionary list that could be the key to your definitive cure. Before we begin, tell me here in the comments, how long have you been suffering from recurrent candidiasis, and what was the strangest or most desperate treatment you've ever tried? I want to better understand the profile of who's watching, because this helps me create content that's even more specific and targeted to your needs. Don't be ashamed to share your experiences. This is a completely safe space of mutual support, where we all understand each other. Marskir number 7. Refined sugar and all its disguises. Refined sugar isn't just a common villain in the diet, it's literally the favorite fuel of Candida albicans, the fungus responsible for the candidiasis that's torturing your life. When you consume refined sugar, you're offering a complete banquet to these microorganisms, allowing them to multiply explosively and become increasingly resistant to the natural and medicinal treatments you try to use. What most people don't know is that refined sugar creates an acidic environment in your body, which is exactly the ideal pH for Candida to prosper and spread to other areas of the organism. Additionally, sugar dramatically suppresses your immune system for up to 5 hours after consumption, leaving you completely vulnerable to fungal infections. But the problem goes far beyond the white sugar you know. Sugar hides under more than 60 different names on food labels, including corn syrup, fructose, dextrose, maltodextrin, invert sugar, sucrose, corn glucose, and many other disguises that the food industry uses to confuse you. Apparently healthy products like diet yogurts, cereal bars, salad dressings, whole grain breads, natural juices, and even some medications contain absurd amounts of hidden sugar that's silently feeding your candidiasis. A 2022 study published in the Journal of Mycological Research followed 340 women with recurrent candidiasis for 8 months, dividing them into 2 groups. The first group completely eliminated refined sugar and all its disguises from their diet, while the second group only reduced consumption. After the follow-up period, participants who totally eliminated sugar showed an 89% reduction in candidiasis episodes, 92% fewer symptoms of itching and burning, and 87% improvement in vaginal flora quality. The group that only reduced consumption had only 34% improvement, demonstrating that complete elimination is fundamental to breaking the vicious cycle of candidiasis. To manage eliminating sugar from your life without extreme suffering, you need to make a gradual and intelligent transition. Start by religiously reading all processed food labels, learning to identify the 60 different names of sugar. Gradually substitute with natural alternatives like pure stevia extracted from the leaf, erythritol in very controlled quantities, or natural xylitol, but always in minimal amounts and only at specific moments. Prepare your own desserts using fruits with low glycemic index like berries, and completely eliminate soft drinks, industrial juices, conventional sweets, and any product containing added sugar in the first 30 days of treatment. Number 6. Very sweet fruits and juices of any type. Very sweet fruits, and especially all types of juices, are natural sugar bombs that spike your blood glucose levels, similarly to conventional sweets, creating the perfect environment for uncontrolled proliferation of Candida albicans. Although fruits are natural and contain important vitamins, those with high glycemic index like mango, grapes, ripe banana, watermelon, pineapple, persimmon, figs, and all dried fruits transform into pure sugar in your organism within minutes. Juices are even more devastating because they concentrate all the sugar from multiple fruits without the fibers that help moderate absorption, causing insulin spikes that massively feed the fungus and create systemic inflammation. When you drink a glass of orange juice, for example, you're consuming the sugar equivalent to 4 or 6 oranges at once, causing a glucose tsunami that Candida will instantly devour to multiply exponentially. Additionally, many industrial juices, even those labeled as 100% natural, contain preservatives, acidulants, and are pasteurized in a way that completely destroys the enzymes and nutrients that could have some benefit for your health. Even natural, freshly squeezed juices can be extremely problematic during the active phase of candidiasis because your liver can't process this fructose overload efficiently. Researchers from the International Center for Functional Nutrition Studies published an impressive 2023 study with 295 women diagnosed with persistent candidiasis. The group that eliminated very sweet fruits and all types of juices for 12 weeks showed 94% reduction in candidiasis episodes, 88% fewer symptoms of itching and discharge, 91% improvement in blood sugar stability, and 85% reduction in systemic inflammation measured through blood markers. Participants who continued consuming sweet fruits and juices had only 19% improvement, proving that this dietary change is absolutely crucial for treatment success. During the intensive candidiasis treatment period, prefer exclusively fruits with low glycemic index like fresh berries, strawberry, raspberry, blueberry, blackberry, green apple with skin, small pear, kiwi, lemon, and avocado. Always consume whole fruits, chewing well to activate digestive enzymes, and preferably accompanied by a source of good fats like raw nuts or fresh coconut to further decrease sugar absorption. Completely avoid dried fruits, candied fruits, jams, jellies, and any fruit-based processed products, even those labeled as no added sugar, because concentrated natural sugar is already enough to feed Candida devastatingly. Number 5. Refined carbohydrates and white flours. Refined carbohydrates and white flours are transformed by your organism into pure glucose within minutes after consumption, creating exactly the same devastating effect as refined sugar on the explosive growth of Candida albicans. White bread, conventional pasta, cookies, cakes, pizza, white rice, potato, and all products made with refined wheat flour are converted to sugar so quickly that your pancreas triggers insulin production uncontrollably, creating an internal environment that Candida loves for massive reproduction. Additionally, the gluten present in most of these foods causes intestinal inflammation, even in people who don't have diagnosed celiac disease, damaging intestinal walls and creating leaky gut syndrome. When your intestine is inflamed and permeable, toxins, undigested food particles, and even Candida itself can cross the intestinal barrier and enter the bloodstream, dramatically overloading your immune system and spreading fungal infection to other parts of the body like mouth, skin, nails, and genital region. Refined carbohydrates also destroy the beneficial bacteria in your intestine, those that should be competing with Candida for space and nutrients, leaving the field free for the fungus to completely dominate your intestinal flora. In 2021, Clinical Nutrition magazine published revolutionary research with 520 women with chronic candidiasis divided into two groups for 16 weeks. The group that eliminated all refined carbohydrates and white flours showed 91% fewer candidiasis episodes, 84% reduction in symptom intensity, 89% improvement in general digestive health, and 76% reduction in blood inflammatory markers. Participants also reported 92% more energy, better stable mood, and significant reduction of other symptoms like headaches, abdominal bloating, and premenstrual syndrome. The control group that maintained refined carbohydrate consumption had only 12% improvement. To replace refined carbohydrates without losing the pleasure of eating, try alternative flours like coconut flour, almond flour, Brazil nut flour, golden flaxseed flour, or chickpea flour to make your own breads and cakes. Complex carbohydrates without gluten like quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, and brown rice in small quantities are options that provide sustained energy without feeding Candida. Prepare your own pasta using zucchini noodles, palm heart spaghetti, or eggplant lasagna, sweetening sweet recipes only with pure stevia or erythritol in minimal quantities. During the first 60 days of treatment, completely eliminate any product made with white flour, even in small amounts. Listener, number 4. Conventional dairy and milk. Derivatives. Conventional dairy products are a silent and devastating trap for those suffering from candidiasis, creating multiple problems that keep the fungus always active and resistant to treatments. Cow's milk and all its derivatives naturally contain lactose, which is a type of sugar that serves as direct food for Candida albicans, but the problem goes far beyond that. Conventional milk is completely loaded with synthetic hormones like RBGH, residual antibiotics, pesticides, and other chemical substances that destroy the delicate balance of your intestinal flora, creating exactly the environment that Candida needs to grow uncontrollably. Additionally, many people develop lactose intolerance without realizing it, causing chronic intestinal inflammation that dramatically weakens the immune system. Casein, the main protein in milk, is extremely inflammatory for most people and creates an immune reaction that further overloads your organism, leaving fewer resources available to effectively combat fungal infection. Dairy products also increase mucus production in the body, especially in the mucous membranes of the vaginal and oral region, creating a moist and nutrient-rich environment where Candida can easily prosper. Yellow cheeses, conventional butter, heavy cream, industrial yogurts, and powdered milk are particularly problematic because they concentrate even more of these inflammatory compounds. Researchers from the Advanced Institute of Applied Microbiology published a 2022 observational study with 380 women diagnosed with persistent candidiasis who were followed for 20 weeks. The group that completely eliminated all conventional dairy products showed 86% reduction in candidiasis symptoms, 79% fewer recurrence episodes, 91% improvement in digestion and nutrient absorption, and 83% reduction in excessive vaginal mucus production. Women who only reduced dairy consumption had only 28% improvement, demonstrating that total elimination is necessary to break the inflammation cycle that keeps Candida active. If you feel you can't live without dairy, the best alternatives during treatment are homemade plant milks from coconut, almonds, Brazil nuts, or unsweetened oats, which besides not feeding Candida, provide important nutrients to strengthen your immune system. Water kefir, homemade sugar-free kombucha, and artisanal fermented vegetables can help restore intestinal flora naturally. Completely avoid industrial plant milks that contain hidden sugars, thickeners, carrageenan, and preservatives that can be as harmful as conventional dairy. After candidiasis is completely controlled for at least 6 months, you can consider gradually reintroducing organic dairy from pasture-raised animals, starting with small amounts of kefir or natural sugar-free yogurt. Discussion number 3. Alcohol of any type and quantity. Alcohol is one of the most devastating and harmful foods for those with candidiasis, and I'm not just talking about distilled beverages or excessive consumption. Beer, wine, champagne, cocktails, and even hygiene products and cosmetics containing alcohol can drastically aggravate symptoms and keep Candida always active in your organism. Alcohol is metabolized by your liver, transforming into acetaldehyde, a highly harmful toxin that Candida itself also naturally produces. When you consume alcohol, you're exponentially increasing the toxic load in your organism, overloading your liver that should be processing and eliminating toxins produced by the fungus, and further weakening the immune system that should be fighting fungal infection. Additionally, alcohol causes severe damage to the intestinal mucosa, massively destroys beneficial intestinal bacteria that should be competing with Candida, dangerously elevates blood sugar levels even in apparently dry beverages, and causes systemic inflammation that spreads throughout the body. It's as if you were purposely creating all the perfect conditions for Candida to proliferate completely uncontrollably. Many women report that candidiasis symptoms explode drastically in the days following alcohol consumption, but few make this direct connection and continue consuming regularly. A 2023 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Microbiology involved 285 women with recurrent candidiasis who consumed alcohol at least twice a week. After 12 weeks of total abstinence from any type of alcoholic beverage, 94% of participants reported significant symptom improvement. 87% had complete reduction of candidiasis episodes, 91% improved liver function measured through laboratory tests, and 89% showed measurable strengthening of immune function. Women who maintained abstinence for 8 months had a recurrence rate of only 6%, compared to 73% recurrence in the group that continued occasional alcohol consumption. To manage eliminating alcohol from your life without extreme social suffering, prepare yourself with delicious alternatives like mocktails made with sparkling water, fresh lemon, natural ginger, and pure stevia, natural iced teas flavored with fresh herbs like mint and lemongrass, or flavored waters with cucumber, lemon, and basil. In social situations, always remember that your health and quality of life are infinitely more important than any social pressure, and you can always explain that you're doing a deep detox to improve your general health. Also, eliminate hygiene products containing alcohol like mouthwashes, perfumes applied to skin, and alcohol-based deodorants, as even these products can be absorbed and interfere with your healing process. But before continuing with the 3 most dangerous foods on the list, if this content is really being useful to transform your understanding about candidiasis, leave your like on the video so more women can have access to this information that can literally save their lives. And if you know someone who suffers from recurrent candidiasis, share this video with them, because quality, science-based information is always the first step toward definitive and lasting cure. Ostriker number 2. Common vinegar and industrial fermented foods. Common vinegar and industrial fermented foods are a dangerous trap that might be silently sabotaging your entire candidiasis treatment without you having the slightest perception of the damage they're causing. Although natural and artisanal fermentation is extremely beneficial for intestinal flora health, industrial fermented products are completely different and very harmful. White vinegar, alcohol vinegar, industrial sauerkraut, processed kimchi, commercial pickles, and other supermarket fermented foods contain chemical preservatives, hidden sugars, artificial colors, and are produced with yeasts and bacteria that can directly feed Candida and explosively aggravate the symptoms you're trying to control. Common vinegar is especially problematic because it's produced through alcoholic fermentation, followed by acetic fermentation, creating an extremely acidic environment that can further unbalance your organism's delicate pH. Women with candidiasis already have a natural tendency to have unbalanced vaginal and intestinal pH, and regular consumption of common vinegar can drastically aggravate this condition, creating an even more favorable environment for uncontrolled fungus growth. Additionally, many commercial vinegars contain sulfites, sodium metabosulfite, and other chemical preservatives that are extremely harmful for people with compromised immune systems and can cause allergic reactions that worsen systemic inflammation. A 2021 study published in the International Journal of Food Microbiology analyzed 325 women with recurrent candidiasis who regularly consumed industrial fermented foods and common vinegar in their daily meals. After 14 weeks completely eliminating these products and substituting with homemade artisanal fermented foods or total elimination, 88% of participants reported drastic symptom reduction, 82% had fewer recurrence episodes, 79% significantly improved vaginal and intestinal pH measured through specific tests, and 91% reduced systemic inflammatory markers. The group that continued consuming industrial fermented foods had only 15% improvement. If you like acidic and fermented flavors in your diet, substitute common vinegar with organic raw and unfiltered apple cider vinegar, which contains the mother, a beneficial colony of bacteria and enzymes that actually help digestion and fight Candida. Use fresh squeezed lemon juice to season salads and dishes because despite being acidic, lemon has an alkalizing effect in the organism. For fermented foods, prepare your own sauerkraut, kimchi, or water kefir at home using only sea salt, organic vegetables, and filtered water, or buy artisanal versions from local producers who don't use any type of chemical preservatives. Completely avoid products like ketchup, ready-made sauces, industrial mustard, canned preserves, and seasoning packets that contain common vinegar in their composition. Number 1. Peanuts and oleaginous nuts contaminated with aflatoxins. We've reached the most surprising, dangerous, and devastating food on this list. Peanuts and oleaginous nuts that have developed microscopic fungi due to inadequate storage, producing invisible toxins called aflatoxins that are true poisons for those with candidiasis. Peanuts aren't technically nuts but rather legumes that grow underground in high humidity conditions, making them extremely susceptible to aflatoxin contamination, toxins produced by Aspergillus genus fungi that are highly carcinogenic, mutagenic, and devastatingly immunosuppressive. These toxins create the perfect environment for explosive proliferation of Candida albicans, dramatically suppress your immune system for weeks after consumption, and can cause permanent liver damage, which is the organ responsible for processing and eliminating candidiasis toxins. What makes this situation even more dangerous and treacherous is that aflatoxin contamination is completely invisible, odorless, and tasteless in most cases. Peanuts and other oleaginous nuts like Brazil nuts, almonds, hazelnuts, walnuts, pistachios, and even seeds can appear perfectly normal, fresh, and tasty, but be completely loaded with microscopic fungal toxins that will exponentially feed and strengthen Candida in your organism. Additionally, peanuts are extremely inflammatory for most people due to their unbalanced fatty acid profile and presence of lectins, causing severe intestinal inflammation that further compromises your immune system and facilitates candidiasis spread to other parts of the body. An absolutely revolutionary 2022 study published in the Journal of Toxicology and Environmental Health followed 420 women with chronic candidiasis who consumed peanuts and oleaginous nuts regularly, testing their blood aflatoxin levels before and after an elimination protocol. After 24 weeks completely eliminating peanuts and potentially contaminated oleaginous nuts, 97% of participants had drastic reduction of candidiasis symptoms, 93% had no more recurrence episodes during 12 months of follow-up, 89% significantly improved immune function, measured through specific laboratory tests, and 91% reduced blood aflatoxin levels to undetectable levels. Most shocking was discovering that 84% of women had measurable aflatoxin levels in their blood before the study, without having any knowledge of this silent contamination. To completely avoid this silent and devastating contamination, totally eliminate peanuts and all products containing them, including peanut butter, peanut oil, peanut candies, flours, and snacks that might have cross-contamination. Always buy oleaginous nuts from extremely reliable suppliers. Prefer certified organic versions and always raw. Store in hermetic glass containers in the refrigerator to minimize humidity, and immediately discard any nut showing visual signs of mold, dark spots, strange coloration, or bitter taste. Brazil nuts are especially problematic due to the humid Amazon environment where they grow, so consume with extreme moderation and always from certified organic sources. During the active candidiasis treatment period, completely eliminate all oleaginous nuts for at least 60 days to allow your organism to detoxify from accumulated aflatoxins. Now you know the 7 most dangerous foods that are directly feeding the candidiasis fungus. Refined sugar and all its disguises, very sweet fruits and juices of any type, refined carbohydrates and white flours, conventional dairy and milk derivatives, alcohol of any type and quantity, common vinegar and industrial fermented foods, and peanuts with oleaginous nuts contaminated by aflatoxins. Always remember that these are natural dietary guidelines based on solid scientific evidence. They're not medical prescriptions, and you should always consult a qualified health professional before making significant changes to your diet or lifestyle. If you've made it this far, this demonstrates that you're really committed to your cure and well-being, and that you're not willing to accept living the rest of your life suffering from recurrent candidiasis. Eliminating these foods from your life might seem challenging and scary at first, but the extraordinary results you're going to obtain compensate for any temporary sacrifice you'll have to make. Thousands of women have already completely transformed their lives following exactly these dietary guidelines, and you can be the next success and overcoming story. Tell me here in the comments which of these foods surprised you most, and which you think will be hardest to eliminate from your routine. Your experience and feedback can help other women who are going through the same desperate situation you've already lived. And if you like this transformative content, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive more natural dietary strategies that can revolutionize your health and quality of life. Always remember, you're not alone in this healing journey, and with correct information, determination, and consistency, it's absolutely possible to live free from recurrent candidiasis forever. Your health, your well-being, and your happiness deserve all the care and attention in the world. Take care of yourself with tenderness and see you in the next video.